Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot. Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV.
Hi, I am Dustin Pickering from Parrot Literary Corner. You know me, your noble and honest host, and I've got exciting news for you. Last anthology, Series 1, The Literary Parrot, did such a great job. We wanted to continue to provide this community service to our viewers and to our contributors to the program. So please get up and get a copy immediately. You know, if you're in this book, you want to get a copy. If you're not in the book, you want to get a copy and see what we're doing. You want to be excited with us. We want you on this program, and we hope to see you sometime soon on The Literary Parrot. You have to get your hands on this copy. It's amazing. It's an absolutely beautiful anthology. Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you. Hello, welcome to World Inkers Network. I'm Dustin Pickering, your noble and honest host, and this is episode 247 of this program. Today we have Halle Prenata. She/her enjoys writing short romance, sci-fi, and horror stories, along with poetry, and she gets her ideas from random life experiences and fan fiction. When she's not writing, she's either watching YouTube or playing Animal Crossing. She also enjoys theater, music, and petting her cat, and is very passionate about social justice and human rights, especially LGBTQ plus rights. She had works published in various literary magazines, such as The Hearth magazine, Right Now Lit, and CP Quarterly, and her debut chapbook, Heart the Emoji, is currently out with Alien Buddha Press. Her Twitter handle is @yatheaternerd, and you can check out more of her work at sites.google.com/view/Halle Prenata/home. Thanks for joining us on the program today, Halle. And I'd like to give a shout out to Fizza Abbas, who is the original where I found out about you, and also to Annette Tarpley at Passion of Poetry for suggesting our poet from Saturday. So tell us a little bit about how, what are you up to today? I heard it's your first day of college, and I'm sure you're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, today's first day of college. I go to Kenyon here in Ohio. And yeah, just been doing a lot of running around. It's really cold. I woke up this morning and there's like inches of snow on the ground. That was great.
Wow.
So yeah, just started school.
Excellent. So it's exciting. It's a new experience, and I hope you enjoy it. And so my first question for you is, as a poet and from a poet's perspective, what do you see that could use improvement in the world?
I love this question. I think one of the main things, at least from what I've recently been writing, is like sexual harassment, sexual assault kind of allegations. Those, we have an office here at Kenyon called the Title IX office, and they deal with like discrimination on campus, and they get like tons of reports like every day. And I'm here just, on a college campus, and I'm sure it happens out in the world all the time.
Right.
And one of the things that I've been writing a lot about lately is like trust, and specifically for me, like learning how to like trust kind of men more. Because I don't know, it's just not really something I've like done kind of out of fear of like sexual harassment and all that stuff. And yeah, I think it could be a lot better.
I think so too. I think people can, in general, just mutual respect between people, especially when there's differences between them, whether it's gender or sexuality or race or any number of things, that we could all benefit from the cultural exchange and the general human exchange between people. And I think it's good that, you're confronting that in your writing. So, what would you expect as in your writing as a social justice advocate?
I write a lot about being queer,
Hmm.
just because it's just a very big part of my life, and it's not something that even today in 2022 we don't really talk about all that much. We're still kind of having the battle of having good LGBTQ plus representation,
Hmm.
and I don't know. Sometimes I want to be the one to give that representation to other youth because I think it's really important. Um, I I talk a lot about like when it comes to being LGBTQ plus, mainly more the like relationship side of things.
Hmm.
I don't really talk about like discrimination or like kind of that stuff all that much. But I do think that it's important, and I have seen other poets who have talked about that sort of thing.
Hmm.
And I think it's important.
I think so too. It's definitely, it can be intimidating to have a different perspective and a different nature than the norm, what we consider the norm. And it's definitely important for people to, pursue the avenue of understanding from each other, different things. So how do you confront those issues in your writing? Do you, when you're writing, do you talk about like from a personal perspective, or do you take on voices of different people?
Yeah, usually I just confront it head on. I think sometimes like putting a character to it, putting another voice to it can be helpful. But I know for me, I just kind of write about it head on because that's just what's kind of easiest for me writing wise.
Hmm. So what are you expecting from your college, Kenyon University, or Kenyon College? What are your expectations for a liberal arts education?
A lot of like diverse, a, a wide range of classes, which I guess theoretically I'm taking a wide range of classes this semester. I have a stats
Hmm.
class and an English class and a photography class. Like I've got all kinds of things going on. Um, and yeah, just like a diversity um, in education and different topics.
Interesting. I think that it's definitely good to have a good rounded education. What about do they have like physical classes like athletics, or do they have like a sports team that you want to participate in? Maybe.
There are sports on campus. I'm not interested really in being in any of them,
Hmm.
but there are sports on campus that you can be a part of.
Excellent. So, do you anticipate maybe getting involved in the Kenyon Review and being an assistant editor or something of that nature, and to learn a little bit about the ropes there?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm very interested in. There's the Kenyon Review. There's tons of like lit mag kind of spaces here on
Hmm.
campus as well that are student run. I'm all about like doing all that. There's actually a organization here on campus. It's called the Long
Hmm.
Dog Collective, and they're great. And I did a little bit of things with them last semester, and they're great. And I really like reading everyone's like submissions that come in. That's what really makes me happy. I love trying to publish other voices because I think other people's voices are really important.
Hmm.
And I just really like reading all of the submissions that we get.
That's great. Do you have a preference for style when it comes to poetry? Is there like a form you like to read, or is there a particular kind of approach to verse that you enjoy the most?
Um, I don't think so. I'm kind of open to all
Hmm.
forms.
That's great. It's you're very open minded, and that's really wonderful. And I think that's really impressive. Actually, as a writer, you should be somebody that's receptive to different, not only different forms of writing, but different perspectives and different approaches to life. I mean, there's so many different people out there. We need to learn to kind of address that. Some people are treated unfairly. We've talked a little bit about that, and so how before you were attending at Kenyon, did you participate in any other literary activities like in high school, or did you do editing for any other journals other than that, other than what you're working with now?
Yeah, I my high school had a lit mag I did some editing with, and then I've worked for some literary magazines I found on Twitter, mainly Second Revolution and Farside Review. And right now I'm actually art editor for the Jupiter Review, and I read fiction and poetry submissions for the Plentitudes Journal, which is a journal based in New York.
Okay.
And yeah, it's really fun. I really enjoy reading all the things that we get.
Do any of those journals, do they work with themes, or how do they approach submissions criteria?
Both Jupiter Review and the Plentitudes don't really do themes.
Hmm.
They just kind of accept submissions of all forms, and then the readers kind of go through them and just like read through them and kind of like score them and
Hmm.
help the main editors kind of make decisions on what to keep and what not to keep.
Collaborative effort in editing. I know because I run a journal myself. We have me and two others that do it. It's kind of frustrating sometimes when we have disagreements about what could be published, or even though I'm the founding editor, I still listen to my fellow editors and their opinions. And so, do you find that collaborative effort, the tensions can be productive and creative?
Absolutely. There have been many things I've done collaboratively, both kind of writing wise and like lit mag wise, editing wise, um, that are just great and are really like creatively fulfilling, at least for me personally. And I think everyone can really benefit from creating in a group, especially if it's
Absolutely.
like your first time doing
Hmm.
something. Like one of my friends is kind of like a first time poet person,
Hmm.
and uh, I think it's great that they can go and create with other people and not be like afraid or not like limit themselves because they're like, oh, I don't know how to poetry. Like I think everyone can
Right.
poetry.
Learn
um
from other people, and just
yeah.
bounce some ideas back and forth. It can be, well, we're social people. I mean, people are social animals, really. I mean, we need to have that interaction, to sort of bounce ideas back and forth. And it can be fun too. It's really enjoyable. So tell us a little bit about your book, Heart. It's an emoji. Why did you choose an emoji? Was that like a creative decision, or did you have a backstory behind that?
Yeah, kind of. One of my friends would send me that emoji like all the time.
Hmm.
And I just kind of took it and started running with it in my own writing. And it just kind of started becoming a main symbol that showed up throughout the book.
Hmm.
And as I kind of noticed that it was showing up more and more throughout the book, I was like, this has got to be the title of this book because it's just so prominent and it's so important that it just like it has to be the title.
So, how long did it take you to put this book together in general, and from time of the first poem until publication, when you found a publisher? How long did that take you?
So it took me my entire senior year of high
Hmm.
school. I started writing actually the first 6 poems in that book is my portfolio that I sent to the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards, which is a major award thing here in America, in the fall. And it received an honorable mention. And I was like, this has got to be something. I'd seen all my friends on Twitter doing like chapbook things. I was like, I got to try this out.
Hmm.
Where should I start? And I started with those 6 poems. And then I just kind of kept going and I worked with editors tons of them, and it just started, feeling like a book. And once it was ready, I sent it out, and Alien Buddha Press was the publisher that took it, and I'm very grateful because they're amazing. And yeah, so Alien Buddha Press took it in June, and I started writing it in like August, September. So yeah, about like a whole semester at least.
Wow. So did you write a lot in classes? Like I used to do that. Like that was my thing. Boredom, just sometimes the instructors are boring or the classes are boring, so I just sit and jot poetry all day.
No, my very first class actually of the day was honor statistics, and I cannot drive, so my dad would drive my sister and I to school. But because he had to drive my sister and I to school, we would get there just so incredibly early. So I just end up sitting in class and just like writing that entire time.
Wow, that's fun too. It can be. I spent a lot of time at libraries after school. I had to wait for my aunt to pick me up after work, and she worked late. So I have a similar experience. Only mine was instead of morning, it was in the evening. I was like, all the way at the library to like 7:30 in the evening. It was really actually pretty great for me. It's fun, And did you also do a lot of reading during those kind of long periods of waiting?
I think I read occasionally, yeah. Like especially if I had like writer's block, I would read. But I think I kind of mainly would spend that time writing. Usually it was like if I had to wait after school is usually when I would like sit and read.
What's your editing process like? I mean, you said you worked with some other people. I mean, do you go through and do it poem by poem until it's complete, or do you just go through it whenever, you have like a set of poems and you just go through each poem, gradually? How do you work your editing process?
This one editor who I worked with kind of focused on each individual poem as well as how all of the poems kind of fit together as a whole. And I would go through, so I mainly work with Google Docs. I would go through the Google document and I would read all of her comments, and I kind of worked each individual poem, and then if she had any notes for like overall things, I'd kind of do that after. So I mainly kind of worked each individual poem, and I would go through her comments and I would read them and kind of like make my own comments or make edits within that comment and then resolve it or something like that. But yeah, mainly kind of each individual poem.
Okay, so one at a time. Yeah. So I noticed in Fiza's interview, you talked about anxiety. And do you think of yourself as a mental health advocate as well? And do you find that anxiety can be a creative energy as well as sometimes hindering at the same time? Maybe. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about just in general, just like what is anxiety? I mean, where does it come from? Is it a creative force?
Yeah, I think I personally would consider myself a mental health advocate. I don't know if other people would, but I know I personally would. I've had anxiety. I mean, I've had anxiety my whole life, but I didn't really know I had anxiety until like my senior year of high school. And yeah, I think it can definitely be a creative force. I know I personally very recently have written a lot of poems when I've been kind of in an anxious like state of mind. And I've written about anxiety. I have a poem called Detachment from Reality that I wrote last semester, where I was just like, I don't know, I was just in this situation where my brain started like detaching from what was around me, and I was like, I need to write about this because I don't, that's not something that like regular people go through, and they need to know about it. So I wrote about it. But yeah, I definitely think it can be a creative force. I know it's a creative force for me. I think I don't know if some of my best poems have come from when I'm writing in an anxious state, but I definitely know that there have been many poems that I have really liked that have come from when I've written in an anxious state.
And you write fiction as well. Tell us a little bit about your fiction. What do you write about? Where do you get your ideas from?
I don't write a ton of fiction as I used to anymore, but I would really get a lot of my ideas from like what was happening around me, or like what I was feeling. Like I remember one, I remember maybe like a year or so ago, a couple of years ago, I knew these three adults, and they really helped me a lot through my time knowing them. And it was around Christmas time, and I was like, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a story for all three of them, and I'm going to give it to them as a Christmas present. So I kind of took what I, knew about them and what they looked like and how I knew they acted like and everything. And I just kind of like threw them into a story, and I just kind of made up the world around them. And it was really fun. I had a lot of fun making those stories. I really like making stories for my friends and for the people that I care about.
Interesting. What kind of what sort of I guess you could call it genre would you say you write in?
Yeah, that's a good question. No, I guess fiction wise, it's been a while, but I guess fiction wise, either like romance or like science fiction,
Hmm.
sometimes both in one story.
So how do you approach your science fiction? That's interesting. Or do you combine the genres, or how do you decide? I mean, do you sit down and decide what you're going to write, or does it just kind of flow out of you?
A lot of the times it just like flows out. Like one of the stories, a lot of the things that I do actually is in my fiction. Usually when I'm writing science fiction, I take my anxiety and I kind of make it like a supernatural, paranormal kind of thing in the story.
Hmm.
And it'll almost be, like this character. And it kind of helps me like wrap my head around my anxiety sometimes because I make it so that it is separate from me, and I can just kind of like work through it.
That's
And
interesting.
yeah, I think that's where a lot of my like sciencey fiction kind of
Hmm.
comes from.
Interesting. Well, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with some of your poetry, and we can't wait to hear it. We're watching World Inkers Network. Thanks to our viewers today. Remember, you can leave comments. So do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Contemplation of a phoenix in flight. For Annette. On the wings of doves you fly. In freedom you have found an extraordinary voice. Celebration of your journey's path is freedom defined. In the stillness of tranquility, your words returned. A whisper within your heart, at first you denied. Incessant, gentle nudges you avoided, until you could no more deny those words, in those impassioned pleas, than you could stop your heart from beating, your lungs from breathing, your pen from bleeding. Every brilliant word, crafted sonnets and stanzas, awaited, welcomed, inspiration accepted. Your declaration, drafted in tears while haunted by fears, now an affirmation of strangers everywhere. Celebrate freedom earned, blessings of lessons learned. Like the lotus, your greatest gifts grew greater in the ooze of mud. You are a magnificent phoenix with plumes of every hue, the grandest of dreams now yours to pursue. A vibrant blossom ablaze with fiery gems, your magical words. A beautiful phoenix soaring, tall, strong, proud, no doubt at all. Most magnificent of birds, most beautiful of all.
Welcome back to episode 247. We have Halle Prenata with us today, and she's going to read us some of her fine work that she's written from her book, Heart the Emoji. So go ahead and read us a poem or two. Can't wait to hear it.
Thanks. This isn't actually from my book. This is the one poem I was talking about earlier. It is called Detachment from Reality.
Okay, great.
Snapshots of moments I don't remember. Time shifting slowly. The minute hands tick, tick, ticking, sprouting wings to fly away, but is stuck on its harness on the wall. Snapshots of moments I don't remember move past my eyes like old claymation movies. Move, click, move, click, move, click, time shifting. Snapshots of moments I don't remember turn to dust and fly away. That is that poem. And then this poem is one I wrote fairly recently. It's called The Room. I let you into the quiet room of my mind, void of people. I build in this room. I create in this room. This room is full of my words that I pull from inside myself. This room has poems strewn about the floor and art hanging limply on walls. This room is my palace, a place where I can just be and create without influence or distraction. I have let you into this room too many times to count. You're a regular visitor here. I welcome your presence with open arms, wide hands, and glittering smiles. One day, you invited someone into this room, and I looked at them with narrow eyes, scour on my face, scowl in my heart, my claws bearing the glittering sun streaming in through the windows. I wasn't ready for new people inside my root yet, but you guided him to me with open hands and a rare smile, showed him to me from a different angle, a new perspective, a wrinkled black sweater and tired eyes with looming bags, and I reached out my hand and welcomed him into the room with us. You taught me to trust more, that maybe I can let the men I fear into my room, that maybe they can respect my poems on the floor and art on the walls, that maybe men are just as capable of respect and being good people as you are. Maybe I do not need to fear men. Maybe I can open up my arms and say, welcome, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. Maybe I can trust others with more than just my heart. Do I have time for one more?
Yeah, sure. Do another one.
This one is called Rivers of Love, also one that I wrote fairly recently.
Okay. It's a
I am
recent one.
searching for you. Sorry. I am searching for you in words, hunting through them for some sense of you, searching for the curious glow in your eyes that captivated me the first time I saw them. Your wild hair and messy skin and starstruck wonder at everything that could possibly exist, the little smirks you get while reading out loud, and your voice as calming as running rivers in nature, beauty just discoverable to any eye who wishes to behold it. Your imperfections reminding me you are still human, that I don't know what to expect in this next step, and it makes me scared, and I'm wishing you were here to make it better, but I know you can't, and that's okay. I will learn one day to stop being so dependable on other people. I will learn one day to stop loving what I cannot reach. I will learn one day that water always slips through my fingers every time I go to reach for it. But today, searching for your age freckled skin and glowing brown eyes and wild black hair and curious starstruck wonder, all the things that make you, you, in these words, I know today is not that day. Today, I hold water in my hands, watch it slip through my fingers like sand, realize I will only be able to hold on to you through my words. Realize I will never be able to see the real you, like how everyone sees colors differently, rods and cones creating paintings of vivid color that are different to all eyes, yet still absolutely beautiful. Realize that love will always be weird. Always not make any sense. Always show up when I least expect it to. Doesn't have a one sentence fits all definition. Doesn't help, doesn't care who, what, when, why, or how, yet somehow will always be true. At least for me, I still don't understand love yet. What it is, who it's for, but what I do know is that as I search for you in these words, find little fragments of your glowing brown eyes and wild black hair and voice as calming and voice like the calming rivers of the canals, I know I have grown to love you. I just wish I knew how. Thank you.
It's a very humble poem. I like that. It's very nice. Thank you for sharing that one. It's a very nice love poem. Excellent. And we touched on a lot of themes like anxiety, and then we went into the trusting men, what we talked about at the beginning. That was quite interesting. Do you ever read live, like to an audience, or have you ever tried that?
Yeah, I have. I
Okay.
did a little bit last semester, and I've done a little bit at like open mics and things here and there.
Oh, did you enjoy it?
Yes, I love performing my work so much.
Excellent. Yeah, you do very good. It's very emotive. I can feel the flow of what you're saying, and so I think you do an excellent job. And so, do you ever like when before you go to an open mic, do you practice reading, in front of a mirror or anything like that, or do you just go up and just present?
I want to get to a point one day where I can go up and have like a good poem memorized and be able to do it. But usually I just show up with my iPhone.
Right. That's like I think most of the readers that come to open mics, they have something written and they just read it out. But it takes time to kind of memorize and
Yeah.
and things like that. So you'll probably be pretty good at that at some point. So where do you see yourself in? I don't know, as a writer, like in maybe like 5-10 years between that time period. Do you have any anticipations of finding like, are you looking for bigger publishers like outside the indie market, or are you still kind of like shopping around for other publishers in the indie field, or what are you planning to do for your writing career in the future?
Yeah, I would love to work with bigger publishers at
Hmm.
some point, probably. I'm sure I am pretty much always writing something all the time. But
Right.
I think uh, right now I see myself like working for like a magazine, kind of like Kenyan Review ish, either like editing or like kind of staff writing or something like that. And I also really want to teach like young queer kids, kind of like middle school, high school age, creative writing. I From my personal experience, there are so many young queer kids who make so much amazing art and
Mhm.
poems and stories, and they need to be fostered somewhere. And I want to do it because they're amazing,
Excellent.
and they're amazing. I don't know. Like I said, I'm always writing, so I think that's
Mhm.
kind of mainly where I see myself.
So is teaching young people and nurturing their talents and maybe pursuing an avenue at a bigger publisher of some kind, where you'll have your work out in the mainstream maybe.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what would your last final words be for our audience today, our viewership? We have a couple of people watching now. I think, what would you say to them as writers, as viewers that are interested in your work, in general?
That's a good question. I uh, I think I have two things.
Okay,
One, like I said, writing all the time in the works. Real, there's going to be more from me. You will see me all the time.
wonderful.
And two, just like be looking out for things. And
Mhm.
two, if you want to follow me, my Twitter was said earlier, but it is at YesTheaterNerd. I made it forever ago. Don't ask. And my website is a Google site, sites.google.com/view/my name, HALLEPRENETA All my things are on there. You can check it out. There's gonna be super fun things. And two, if you are like an aspiring writer person,
Mhm.
I really think that the most difficult thing, honestly, sometimes even for me, is just starting. But
Mhm.
really, once you just start and keep going, you're gonna go so far.
Excellent. So the preparation, getting started, it is a task. It's hard to sit down and write. I think I ask one more question. Like, what are your daily writing habits? You say you write all the time. Do you have a time where you sit down and write, or do you just like whenever a moment strikes, when you have the free space to sit down and jot a couple of ideas down, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, usually it's whenever the moment strikes, but kind of recently I've mainly been noticing like at night,
Mhm.
especially kind of around like 8, 9 p.m. ish, when I'm done with school and done with everything I need to do. I'll usually sit on my bed and I'll pull up my notes app and I'll like idea it, or I have a document in Google. It's called my ideas page, and it's just full of like quotes or lines that I've come up with throughout the day, and I'll just like sit and kind of work with what I have, even if I don't, have a finished poem by the end. At least it's, something that is starting and something I can work on throughout like the week.
That's good. It's good to keep inspired. I'm impressed that you're just constantly coming up with new ideas and generating new ideas. Would you like to give any shout outs or like say hello to anybody while you're on the program, or any thank
Um,
yous?
Not really, I guess, other than all the mainly like women who inspire me. There's so many of you. I love all of you. All of you are great. And I'm very happy to know all of you. All of you have gotten me to where I am today, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, it was nice talking with you today, Howie.
You
It's
too.
been wonderful. I would learn quite a bit from you, and I hope you continue to be inspirational for others and keep writing and see a lot of success and get a good degree and move forward and everything that's, hopefully you'll do. I think you'll do a great job. You're very dedicated, so it's wonderful. This has been episode number 247 of World Inkers Network, and we were glad to have viewers today. If you haven't, subscribe, like, share, and comment. We'd love to hear from you guys out there who are, watching the program. If you want to drop a few notes during the program sometime, we would love to hear from you, and subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to donate a little money to us, we definitely could use it. We want to keep our programming live and active. So you can do that at paypal.me/nyparrot. That's paypal.me/nyparrot. And again, if you want to be on the program, I'd love to have you as a guest, and we'd love to have you at World Inkers Network. You can send your bio, samples of your work, and a paragraph or so of your writing or a couple of poems to literarycorner@newyorkparrot.com. It's been wonderful and pleasant talking with Halle Prenata today. Go back and watch at the beginning if you missed it. And thanks to our Passion of Poetry group again, and thanks to Fiza Abbas. I would like to thank her for presenting me with Holly's interview and getting her connected with me to do the interview. So thank you very much. And if you guys out there, if you're sitting down, hey, get to writing. Have a great afternoon. Wonderful day.
My body is a bundle of nerves ready to explode. I'm at that age where I appreciate every sunrise, sunset, and all the hours in between. The age that causes me to notice the rhythmic timing of each breath. A reminder to thank God for granting me another day. I'm at that age where joints begin to stiffen and maybe I don't move as fluently as I did at 22. But I'm also at that age where I realize many didn't even get to see today. So I pray on bent and aching knee, thank you, God, for blessing me. I'm at that age where I notice my kids making some of the same mistakes that I did. And I rule the pair.
Listen to the people. Listen to humanity. Listen to the Parrot. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV. Parrot TV.
Do you know that there is a publishing company that wants to make life easier for you as a writer? This publishing company is called World Inkers Printing and Publishing. We publish in all different languages, and we're looking for writers of all genres, all formats. We're looking for scholars, ghostwriters, playwrights, poets, short fiction, novelists, you name it. We're looking for anybody who is interested in writing and the craft of writing to be in touch with us. You can reach us at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. With World Inkers Printing and Publishing, you do not require a lot of money to publish with us. Contact us today at info.worldinkers@gmail.com. Become a winner with other authors at World Inkers Printing and Publishing. Give us a shot. We will surely finish you.
Listen to the people. Listen to